Shalom Israel, Shalom, Shalom. Brother Naquam, Watchmen for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts and another Monday Night Fire, giving, of course, all honor and all glory to Yahweh, by Shema Mashiach Malaki Bashai. Double honors to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting for the second coming of Mashiach Malaki Bashai. A hearty, mighty Shalom to all of the mighty men of the Most High God who are out there in the highways and byways, pushing this truth, magnifying the ministry, presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice, and enduring all things for the elect's sake. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the men that may not be out there in the highways and byways as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying, they're fasting, they're studying. They're being diligent and abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the Aquath out there, the sincere sisters out there, holding it down in the households, reverencing their husbands, being submissive and diligent, and moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to everybody tuning in live. Quad Israel 23. Slakia. Louis GB, right? HBK Ent, Richard Perez, Don Israel, T Sellers, Princess to a King, Vernon Brody, HBK Ent, Ephraimite Ak, Richard Morantis, Joshua Brewer, Shalom King, Abayanam Yasha Allah, right? And everybody else tuning in and that will tune in, Lord willing. The destruction of Nicanor draws nigh, right? The destruction of Nicanor draws nigh. It is so-called Wednesday night at sundown, right? Wednesday night at sundown until Thursday night at sundown would be the destruction of Nicanor. It would be the 13th day of the month of Adar. The month of Adar is the 12th month of the so-called year. And immediately after the destruction of Nicanor follows 2 glorious days of Purim. So right now, brother should be in the spirit. If you don't know who Nicanor is, if you don't know what this feast day is about, we'll touch on it to lay that foundation out. But it's up to brothers to seek this thing out and understand what these high holy days are that Yahweh Bashmi Shai has set up for us. Right? Let's go to the book of Proverbs, right? Chapter 25, right? And verse 2. Right? Proverbs chapter 25 and verse 2. It is the glory of the Most High to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings is to search out a matter. And our heritage has to be searched out. Your language has to be searched out, right? The so-called laws, the statutes, the commandments, the ordinances of Yahweh or Yahweh Shai, they have been concealed. Who has concealed it? The Most High. When you conceal something, you put it in darkness. And Esau works directly for the Most High. And the Lord has used the so-called white man to conceal all of your holy days, all of your laws, all of the statutes, your heritage, your nationality, your God, the name of your God, the name of his only begotten son, your homeland, and everything about us as a people has been concealed and shrouded in darkness. That was the glory of the Most High to do those things for his divine foreknowledge and wisdom and judgments, right? But the honor of kings is to search out a matter. So kings are going to search out particular matters. Solomon searched out matters. Solomon gave his heart over to wisdom. He even said madness and folly. David searched out a matter. David was a man after the Most High's own heart. He searched out how to be on one accord with Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. A lot of our forefathers, they searched matters out. That is the job of a king, not just to rule with a rod of iron. Your job as a king is to search out your heritage that's been kept secret from the foundation of the world. All right, let's go to Colossians. Actually, let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 2. Right, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 6. Howbeit we speak wisdom among them that are perfect, yet not the wisdom of this world, nor of the princes of this world that come to naught. So what we're going into is not carnal, fleshly wisdom. That's not what you have to search out. This is what they want you to search out. They want you to search out a degree in math or, a master's or a bachelor's or a doctorate or whatever the case may be. We're not going into the wisdom of this world that is corruptible and that decays, right? The wisdom we're speaking are for the perfect. And it tells you in verse 7, but we speak the wisdom of the Most High in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom, which the Most High ordained before the world unto our glory. So there's hidden wisdom that we have to search out that the Heavenly Father set up. He ordained this before the world was made unto our glory. And again, part of that wisdom is not just in-depth breakdowns and secrets and parables. It's simplicity. It's your heritage. It's the holy days and many other such things. And a lot of our people, they don't know about these feast days that Yahweh Shai has set up. They don't know who the Maccabees are. They don't know who Judas is, Simon, Jonathan, Eleazar, Mattathias. They don't know who these men are that ruled with the rod of iron, destroyed the heathen, and sought glory for their nation and feared Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Right? So one of the major high holy days that the Lord has given us, let's go to 1611 real quick. I want to go to Ecclesiasticus, right? Real quick, chapter 33. And I want verse 7. This is Ecclesiasticus, chapter 33 and verse 7, right? It reads, why doth one day excel another, when as all the light of every day in the year is of the sun? So we have holy days. One of our holy days is the destruction of Nicanor. And you have Purim that follows right after. Now, ordinary man might say, well, why doth one day excel another? Right? When as all the light of every day in a year is of the sun. You know, somebody may say, well, the sun rises and the sun sets on every day. Who determined that one day is above another day? Right? Verse 8 answers, by the knowledge of the Lord, they were distinguished, and he altered seasons and feasts. So by the mind of Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, the Lord has said, I'm going to make this seventh day a day of rest and sanctify it. This day is going to be holy. From henceforth, it will be the Shabbat unto the children of Israel for all generations. I'm going to make the 15th day of the 7th month, the Feast of Tabernacles. I'm going to make the 15th day of the 1st month, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, so forth and so on, as the Most High determined certain days and sanctified those days and distinguished them from other days. And what distinguishes these days? The ordinances, right? That's what sanctifies it, because the Heavenly Father has given his people instructions on these days. That's how they're distinguished. And he altered seasons and feasts. So you have it's like you have different feast days that come in these different seasons, right? Some of them hath he made high days and hallowed them, and some of them hath he made ordinary days. And a lot of our people, they just got off Valentine's Day. They just got through freaking off with chocolates and candies and roses and jewelry and simping and spending thousands of dollars and lust and madness and fornication. Those are ordinary days. These holidays that America promotes on a high level are ordinary days. They are not to be celebrated. They are not to be held in any high regard. They are not to be worshiped. They are not to be praised. They are not to be given any recognition outside of them being folly days. Those are ordinary days. But there are some days that are high days. The Sabbath is a high day, right? We went into the Feast of Tabernacles. That is a high day. The Day of Atonement is a high day. Another high day that falls so-called Wednesday night, it is a high day. It's like in the eyes of the Most High, it's the destruction of Nicanor. And the Lord hallowed that day, right? So if you want to follow the Most High and you call yourself keeping these law, statutes, and these commandments, you're going to keep these high holy days, man. It's not going to be, well, you know, I don't want to do it. I don't, you know, I kind of feel like it, but it's not as important as the Day of Atonement. Or, hey, look, man, an Israelite is going to follow these law, statutes, and these commandments because they are part of his heritage, right? Now, when you want to go into the destruction of Nicanor, let's go to 1 Maccabees 7, right? Now, Nicanor is an Edomite. He was a general in a Greek army. Now, in the time of the Maccabees, this was the time that the Greeks came into power. And it was prophesied that the Greeks would come into power. When you read the book of Daniel, when you read Daniel, the 2nd chapter, Daniel, the 7th chapter, Daniel, the 8th chapter, Daniel, the 11th chapter, those are 4 chapters that speak about the rising of the so-called white man called the Greeks. All right, just to give the background in the time of Maccabees. Now, there's a lot of times that Christians like to go to the New Testament and they'll find that word Greek, or in Acts 6, they'll find that word Grecian, or Galatians 3 and 28, they'll say it is neither Jew, or for there is neither Jew nor Greek. So they're going to this word Greek in a time of the Roman captivity, not questioning why is the word Greek being used when the Romans are in power. Why is this Greek word all throughout the New Testament? Where did it come from? Where it came from the time of the Maccabees. All right. When you go to the book of, let's go to Daniel, the 7th chapter. All right. Let's go to Daniel chapter 7. Right. Because it's really, you want to get the entire understanding, right, when it comes to these high holy days. All right. It's not just about the death of Nicanor. It's about, you want to know your entire heritage. Right. Now, this is Daniel chapter 7 and verse 4. Now, Daniel prophesied of 4 major kingdoms: the Neo-Babylonian Empire, right? He prophesied of the Medo-Persian Empire. He prophesied of the Greek Empire, and he prophesied of the Roman Empire and a revived Roman Empire, which is NATO in the EU, headed by America, the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. So I'm going to go through Daniel chapter 7, verse 4, and I'm going to really harp in on 6. All right. So this is Daniel chapter 7 and 4. Daniel was a prophet during the Babylonian Empire, and the Lord came to him and gave him these visions about 4 major kingdoms that will come on the earth after him, right? Or really during this time, right? Because Daniel was alive and around through the time of the Babylonian and the Persian Empire. So this is Daniel 7 and 4. It reads, actually, I'm gonna start at 2. Daniel spake and said, I saw my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea, and 4 beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from the other. And these beasts are actually kingdoms. Now, when you jump down in this chapter, it explains that these beasts are actually kingdoms. I'm going to jump down to verse 17, and I'll jump back up to verse 3. Daniel chapter 7 and verse 17. These great beasts, which are 4 kings, which shall arise out of the earth. So really, when you read these beasts, they're really talking about kingdoms. All right. Because why? Men are likened unto beasts. Right? Men carry the same instinct and nature as a beast. Right? A beast doesn't have any understanding. A beast doesn't know the laws and the commandments. A beast doesn't call upon the name of Yahweh, Basham Yahushua. And that's how man is. That's how Jake is. That's how these nations are. Right? They have sex with anything like a beast. They eat anything like a beast. They have no discretion like a beast. You know, so these heathen kingdoms are a beastly kingdom. You know? So Daniel 7 and 4. Here's the first beast, the Babylonian Empire. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. So the Most High gave power to the Babylonians when they broke off from the Assyrians. So they took the Assyrians down around 626 or so BC. That's when Nabopolassar came into power. He was one of the first leaders of the Babylonian Empire. Helmessiah Axes of the Medes destroyed the Assyrians, right? They really came to power around 626, and the Assyrians fell around 612 to 609 BC. So the wings were plucked, and the Babylonians received that authority, right? And they were made to stand up. They didn't need the support of the wings. They didn't need the support of the Assyrians. They became a power within their own right, right? And they ruled from around 626 to 539 BC. We've covered these dates before, but for brothers that may not know, right, this is what you need to know when you're breaking this chapter down, right? So from 626 to 539 BC, that's when the Babylonians ruled. They fell in 539 by BC by Cyrus the Great in the Battle of Apis. All right. Daniel 7 and 5. And behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. This beast that arose is the Medo-Persian Empire. It raised up itself on one side because although the Medes and the Persians had a joint empire, Around 550 BC, the Persians actually defeated Astyages and Ecbatana and became the sole ruler of the Medo-Persian Empire, right? So it actually became the Persian Empire. That's why it raised up itself on one side. So that happened around 550 BC. And it began to take down 3 other nations. The 3 other kingdoms or nations that it took down are these 3 ribs. Remember, ribs are the carcass of a beast, right? So they took down the Lydian Empire around 545 BC. They took down King Croesus, right, at the Battle of Thymbra, chiefly the siege of Sardis. The second rib they took down was the Babylonian Empire, 539 BC at the Battle of Apis. The third rib they took down was the Egyptian Empire. Cambyses II took that down at the Battle of Pelusium in 525 BC. So the Lydians, the Babylonians, and the Egyptians are the 3 ribs that were taken down by the Persian Empire. Right? It says, in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it, and they said, thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh, because they devoured much flesh. They took down many kingdoms. The flesh are the different kingdoms. When you read Esther and other scriptures, you read about this empire that ruled from India to Ethiopia, 127 provinces. So they have much flesh, right? Verse 6, here's what we want to touch on. When you're dealing with the Maccabees, verse 6 deals with the Greek Empire. Daniel 7:6. And this is important because these 4 major empires, the Babylonians, the Persians and the Medes, the Greeks and the Romans, are prophesied in the Bible. But yet, in the Old Testament, you only read about the Babylonians and the Persians. And in the New Testament, you only read about the Romans. But you're missing a key component, which are the Greeks. So where do you read about this Greek history? Well, you read about it in the time of the Maccabees. And a lot of Christians and a lot of people of the world, they don't get that full understanding of the scriptures because they're missing an integral part of the history of the Israelites, which is found in Maccabees. There's a reason why Yahushua in John 10:22 kept the Feast of Dedication. Right? There's a reason why he did that, because that's found explicitly from the time of Judas, Simon, Jonathan, and these the Hasmonean dynasty. You know, that was found under the time of the Greek captivity. So this is Daniel 7:6, right? So you got to read this history and read Maccabees to get this understanding. Daniel 7:6. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast also had 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Now, this beast like a leopard are the Greeks, right? They're likened it to a leopard due to the swiftness of Alexander's conquest. Alexander came out of Macedon and conquered the known world in a span of 12 years. From the age of 20, he came into power, and he died of AIDS or gonorrhea or syphilis at the age of 32. So he had a lot of those people that ruled, it took them decades and decades and decades, to really be a top kingdom, huh? But it was not so for the Greeks, because they swiftly took everybody down that was before them. The Greeks took down the Persians around 331 BC at the Battle of Gaugamela, or some scholars may call it the Battle of Arbela. All right, took down Darius III. That's how the Greeks came into power. Now it says, upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl, and it also, it's like the beast had also 4 heads. So the 4 heads and the 4 wings of a fowl are different. The 4 wings of a fowl are the 4 regions of Alexander's kingdom, right? Thrace, Macedon, Mesopotamia / Asia Minor, and Egypt and Northern Africa. Those are the 4 wings. Thrace, Macedon, Mesopotamia / Asia Minor, and the 4th wing is Egypt or Northern Africa, because that's where you nest. That's why it's called the four wings of a fowl, because that's where this essentially this leopard rested and it had its dominion. Okay. And the four heads are the four generals or main generals of Alexander the Great: Ptolemy, Seleucus, Lysimachus, and Cassander. Right. And we've done in-depth breakdowns on this and extremely detailed level, but I'm just keeping it brief because I want to go through Maccabees and we want to touch on this in brevity. Right, time would fail us to do an in-depth breakdown on the Greeks. I covered this on the Daniel 11th chapter series. If you go to the Daniel 11 finally explained, right, we go deep into this Greek world. So these four kings, Cassander, Lysimachus, or generals, Seleucus, and Ptolemy, came into power. Right, let's pull that up on the map. This is what scholars call the diadochi, right, which means successors. Let's pull this up. All right, diadochi or diadochi, it reads successors. Right, because remember, after Alexander died of AIDS or syphilis or gonorrhea or HIV or herpes, right? Whatever he died of, some sexually transmitted disease of sodomy, because he was a sodomite. We're going to put that out there, right? And they had this, I think they're remaking the Alexander the Great series. And I was looking something on social media, and somebody said, I can't believe that this new Alexander the Great series is starting off with sodomy, right? Or homosexuality. I can't believe this. Why would they do that? They're trying to push the agenda. Well, partially, yeah, they are trying to push the agenda, but they're right. Alexander, the freak, the Greek, was a purebred sodomite. Everybody knows that. He had an affair with his generals. And this guy was a full-fledged, well open, out of the closet. Everybody knew it. He was a pure sodomite, man. He makes those men in Genesis 19 damn near look godly, the way that this man was. They say he would fight naked from the waist down. He was sneaking in his general's tents and dealing with him. So this guy was off, man. We're not going to act like this guy Alexander was great. That's what we call him, the Greek or the creep or the freak. The so-called white man calls him great because of his sodomy. He was a great sodomite and a bloodshedder. And that's what Esau thinks is great. Nevertheless, when Alexander died, they fought over his body. Men like Perdiccas, men like Antigonus, Monothalamus. You had men like Ptolemy, Soter, Seleucus, Nicanor. All of these men fought over Alexander's bodies, and they fought over who would be in power. Hystiapes and these different men, when you go through the history. But out of all of those generals, you have four major generals, which are those four heads in Daniel 7. And it's key to know that when you read the book of Maccabees. So these successors are those four generals that came out of the Greek kingdom. All right. So let's read on. So the diadochi were rival generals, families, and friends of Alexander the Freak, who fought for control over his empire after his death in 323 BC. The wars of the diadochi marked the beginning of the Hellenistic period, from the Mediterranean Sea to the Indus River Valley. Now, the Hellenistic period is the time period that the Greeks influenced the known world with their culture, their gods, their music, their dress, their education, their language, and their way of life. The entire world became under the influence of Greek culture. Some of these nations, they willingly accepted it. And some nations, they were forced to follow the ways of the Greeks. Right? And we'll dive into that. So this is the Hellenistic period, right? Now you can say, well, I don't like that. That's Wikipedia. I don't believe that. Open up the encyclopedia or the Britannica or the Cambridge Dictionary. It's the same thing, right? We looked it up, right? We looked it up. So Hellenistic period, right? And classical antiquity, the Hellenistic period covers the time in Mediterranean history after classical Greece, between the death of Alexander the Greek in 323 BC and the death of Cleopatra VII in 30 BC. All right. Now I'm going to jump down. After the Macedonian conquest of the Achaemenid Empire in 330 BC, Achaemenid is the Persian Empire, right? And its disintegration shortly after, the Hellenistic kingdoms were established throughout Southwest Asia. So they put the Seleucid Empire, Kingdom of Pergamon, and Northeast Africa and South Asia. This resulted, now check this out, in an influx of Greek colonists and the export of Greek culture and language to these new realms. So that's what happened, man. When a so-called white man came into power, if you were serving your own God, speaking your own language, wearing your own garments, writing down in your own script with your language and following your own customs, you were immediately in a trance, for lack of a better term. You started looking at the so-called white man and started worshiping this man, right? Like I tell you in Revelation, the 13th chapter. And all of these nations, they start getting down with the so-called white man, right? This Revelation, chapter 13 and 4. It reads, now this is speaking about the Roman Empire, but you have one of these heads which are still the Greeks. So the Greeks are still part of this thing, right? And even though Revelation 13 and 4 is speaking about the Roman Empire, the so-called white man has always been on the forefront when it comes to these nations. They've always looked up to this man and idolized this man, and that's what it's going to tell you in Revelation 13 and 4. Rather he was a Greek or a Roman or an American or a European, he has always been a stumbling block and a god to these nations. Everybody wants to be like him. The Chinese man don't wear his old garments anymore. You don't see them Chinese women, them Moabite women with them fans and them pencils in their head and them damn big sashes and messed up feet. Now they working in corporate America. They're wearing suits and ties. Look at the president of China. He don't dress like a Chinese man. He dressed like a so-called white man. He wants to be a part of this man's system. Look at the Hamite man. He's putting on a suit and a tie. They're speaking English. They're teaching their children the ways of capitalism and the ways of America. Right? So this is Revelation chapter 13 and 4. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him? And that's the mentality of these heathenistic nations. This mentality was also adopted amongst us as a people, where we started looking at the Greeks and saying, wow, this man is in power. Look at his gods. Look at those damn togas. Look at that laurel on his head. Look at those gymnasiums. Look at that discus. Look how he throw that discus. Wow, look at that place of exercise. Look at them sandals. Wow. Surely I would kill to be like a so-called white man for one day. And that's not hard to believe. I mean, look what Jake does now. They bleach their skin. They dye their hair blonde. And they follow the customs of these modern-day Greco-Romans. So they say, who is like this man? Right? Who is able to make war with them? And that was a part of this Hellenistic culture. An influx, let's read this again. This resulted in an influx of Greek colonists and the export of Greek culture and language to these new realms, right? Because when you look up the Diadochi and see the regions that they had the known world, man. They had the world under their feet. So we get a good map, right? Some of these maps are, they'll differ based off of the time period. Like some of these maps still have Antigonus in there, but Antigonus was conquered by Seleucus I Nicanor. So I want to find a good map. Here's a decent one. Like we covered the four wings: Macedon, Thrace, Asia Minor, Mesopotamia, and Egypt in northern Africa. Those are those four wings. Then the four heads are these men that ruled over these regions. Lysimach has ruled over Thrace. Cassander ruled over Macedon. Seleucus the first Nicanor ruled over Asia Minor. He really got that from Antigonus, and he had Mesopotamia that he had on his own. And Ptolemy the first Soter, he had Egypt and parts of Libya and northern Africa. You know, so with this whole world being conquered by the so-called white man, in process of time, they fell under the customs of these nations. And that's how military conquest happens. Once you conquer a nation, there's things that happen in war. You usually kill the men off, and you usually enslave their women and have sex with their women. This is just what happens. You can say, well, why are you talking about that? This is ancient warfare. You kill the men off, the warrior class. You kill a priestly class off that connects them to their God. Then you take their woman and you impregnate their woman and make more of your nation through them. You destroy any type of history that they had: pottery, buildings, temples, artifacts, and then you force them to serve your God, speak your language, dress like you, and assimilate into your lifestyle. That's ancient warfare. Everybody knows that. That's what Israel was charged to do. Did not the Most High say, when you go into their land, destroy their gods, make no covenant with them, slay utterly old and young, or keep none alive that breatheth, paraphrasing? We're going to get that, right? First, let's go to Ecclesiasticus, right? And this is going to lead up to Nicanor, right? But we're just laying the foundation, right? This is Ecclesiasticus. Remember, the Most High is a man of war. So, we have to know how war is, right? It's part of knowing who your God is, right? Ecclesiasticus chapter 10 and verse 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. So when you wonder throughout history why one nation doesn't remain in power for so long, it's because they're being judged by the Most High, because they have done unrighteous dealings. Usually these nations come into power through theft, through adultery. Maybe they had a marriage and then they slaughtered the man, then they took the wife, and maybe they poisoned the king. That's unrighteous dealings. They come into power through injuries, right? Meaning murder. Riches got by deceit, that's theft, exhortation. It's like you're not exhortation. Extortion, Salakia. Right? Those are completely different, right? Extortion and theft and robbery, that's riches got by deceit. For those things, the Most High said what? The kingdom is translated from one people to another, right? So that's why it went from the Babylonians to the Persians to the Greeks to the Romans. The Most High takes over those kingdoms. And when you take over a kingdom, you take over that landmass and you make those people become essentially you, right? And again, that was part of what the Greeks did. Some of them, they let these nations willingly come into them, but a lot of them, they did it by force. And that was something that we did during war, right? And it's not uncommon amongst war, right, for these things to happen. Deuteronomy chapter 7 and 1, let's prove it. When Yahweh thy God shall bring thee into the land, whither thou goest to possess it, and hath cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. This is in the land of Canaan. Or keep in mind, we're on our way to colonize this land in righteousness. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. Right? For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. See that? So the Most High, he said, exterminate everybody, man. You know? And there were certain nations, we didn't have to kill their woman off. We could deal with their women. Right? When you read Deuteronomy chapter 21, 10 on down, Numbers chapter 31, 13 on down, the Midianites or the Cushites, or if you saw a beautiful woman of another nation, and you killed her husband off, right, or her father, you could take her as a POW. She had to shave her head and pare her nails and, bewail her father, her mother for a month. And, after that, she became your wife. That's how this thing went down, man. See, a lot of people, they don't like the Old Testament because they think it's too raw. I don't like the God of the Old Testament. He was mean. The God of the Old Testament, he was too rough. I don't like that God. That God, it seems like he allowed this, and why would God allow that? It's the same God. The Most High don't change, man. I don't like that God. He's too rough around the edges. I don't like his personality, right? You got people that say stuff like that, man. I like the God of the New Testament. He's nice and he makes me feel warm inside. And I just feel like I want to drink a cup of warm tea and milk. And I love Jesus. Jesus, I love you. Oh, Jesus. And the Lord is not dealing with that, man. That effeminate spirit, man. Oh, Jesus. No, it's Yahweh Bash Yahweh Shai, man. And you see the different spirits between the Most High and then white Jesus. White Jesus loves you. He wants to kiss you. And, like I say, he makes you feel all fuzzy on the inside. And you got butterflies in your stomach. And, you damn, damn dancing all the time, huh? And the Most High told Israel, cut these nations down. Right, let me read this again. I'm going to read on Deuteronomy 7 and 4. For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. But thus shall ye deal with them. Ye shall destroy their altars and break down their images and cut down their groves and burn their graven images with fire. Meaning cut off their so-called God. Any type of religion that you see, utterly abolish it. Kill their priests. Kill their so-called idols and their gods. Destroy their women and their men and their children. So this was a complete annihilation that the Most High set up. That's what the Lord condoned. And the Most High, he's gonna do that again to a particular nation. And we'll touch on that. So the concepts of war and dynamics of war essentially transcend throughout time. Now, when the Greeks came into power, a lot of nations, like we went into before, they willingly accepted the Greeks. And some nations were forced to bow down to the Greeks. Let's go to First Maccabees, right? Chapter 1. Right? Let's go to First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 1. All right. It reads, and it happened after that, Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Edom, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece. Now, Alexander, he actually came into power because his father died. His father was actually assassinated. His father was Philip II of Macedon. I believe he was slain by one of his bodyguards. It was out of time. He was assassinated. So Alexander had to really step up to the plate because Philip II of Macedon, when you go through the history, he wanted to lead a military conquest against the Persians. He wanted to take down the Persian Empire, but the Lord cut his life short. See, the Most High, he'll do that, man. And he took a man that he wanted and set him up. Now, the land of Edom is speaking about Greece. Now, really, it's a land applied to Southern Europe, the Mediterranean lands, but prophetically, it's applied to either Greece or Rome. And certain chapters like Daniel 11 is applied to Rome. You read about Pompeius Linnaeus, who came out of the land of Kittim against Antiochus Epiphanes the fourth and drew a line in the sand. Right? You can go into that history on your own. Right? But then you read about the land of Kittim in this context, and it's applied to Macedon. All right. Let's read on. So Alexander, right, verse 2, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth and went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, and so much that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. So he slew, remember, the Greeks essentially just annexed the Persian Empire. All right. When you look up the Greek Empire, here it is. Right. Now that's it when it was divided, but let's pull it up in its entirety. All right. Let's pull up the Greek Empire as a whole, or the Empire of Alexander. So it pretty much reigns from India to Ethiopia. It covers 3 continents. So this empire was vast. Right. And again, when you spread yourself across the world from a military standpoint, you bring your life with you. It's not just you kill these nations, you bring who you are. You bring your music, your festivities, the days that you esteem to be high, the way that you dress, your education system. These things are instilled within you. They're part of who you are. So when the Greeks spread themselves throughout the earth, they brought all of that with them. Right now, you'll see Judea, or the land of Israel, they also were conquered. At one time, they were under the hand of the Ptolemies. Then another time, they were conquered by Antiochus Epiphanes the fourth. Really, Antiochus the third, Magnus, right, or the Great. He had Judea under his control, but then his son, right, or his seed rather, Antiochus Epiphanes the fourth, really came into power and made Israel in subjection to the Greek way of life. Okay, and that's what Maccabees is about. First and second Maccabees is about the expansion of the Greeks and their influence over the children of Israel by force. Whereas some of these other nations, they willingly accepted. Like we read, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with them. They willingly accepted Greek life. Whereas we don't accept the so-called white man or no other God. That's a complete violation of Leviticus chapter 20, verses 24 through 26. Right? Let me get that real quick. Let's go to Leviticus. Right? That would be a sin to accept Greek lifestyle because it's in opposition to the laws and the commandments. The Greek lifestyle promotes pedestry, which is nothing but modern day pedophilia. They promote sodomy. They promote idolatry, food sacrifice to idols, eating things with blood in it, male prostitutes, and all of this lewd, vile works that is in opposition to holiness. So let's read this, right? Leviticus, the classic, chapter 20 and verse 24. I mean, this whole thing is good. I'm going to start at 22. Leviticus chapter 20 and 22. Here's law, right? Ye shall therefore keep all my statutes and all my judgments and do them, that the land whither I bring you to dwell therein spew you not out, like the land spewed out Adam, and Adam was driven out. Or the land is spewing out the Amorites because their iniquity has become full, right? But the Canaanites, if you commit iniquity in that land, you get driven out that land. That's why we're in America right now, Babylon the Great, and throughout other lands, right? Verse 23. And ye shall walk, Slakia, and ye shall not walk in the manners of the nation, which I cast out before you, for they committed all these things, and therefore I abhorred them. So when you read Leviticus 18, Leviticus 20, you read about sexual immorality. You read about laying down with beasts, witchcraft. You read about incest. There's a lot of vile things, sodomy, that you read about in those chapters. And the Most High said the Canaanites, they were doing those things. And I abhorred them for sodomy. I abhorred them for witchcraft. I abhorred them for idolatry. So we knew as a people to have integrity and only serve the laws, statutes, and the commandments, or serve the Most High by upholding the law, statutes, and the commandments, the covenant made with our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Let's read on. Verse 24. But I have said unto you, ye shall inherit their land, and I will give it unto you to possess it, a land that floweth with milk and honey. I am Yahweh your God, which have separated you from other people. So we were never, even to this day, intended to be like these other nations in speech, in thought, in walk, in deed, in worship. We are completely supposed to be separate as a people. That's what the word Quadash means, right? Which is holy. Quadash is the Hebrew word for holy. It means set apart or sanctified. Right? So the time of Maccabees was a time of nationalism, right? It was a time of nationalism and zeal for Yahweh Yahweh Shah. All right. And every nation, every people have a right to defend their nation. But with the hypocrisy behind it is the so-called white man can do that, right? The so-called white man, he'll come up with philosophies, hypocritical philosophies rooted in deception, like manifest destiny, where he says we have the right as the 13 colonies or the Americas to inherit sea to shining sea. We can inherit from Massachusetts and Jamestown, Virginia, all the way to California, right? And Washington and the Oregon Territory. And it's our right by God to kill everybody that opposes us. That's nationalism. The so-called white man has a right to not only be a nationalist, he has a right to enforce imperialism. Imperialism is beyond nationalism, right? It's you going to other nations to expand your empire, to take down Hawaii, to get Alaska, to take down the Samoa Islands and Puerto Rico and all these different places. That's imperialism. Setting a military bases throughout the known world, embassies throughout the whole world. But then let the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans stand up for yourself. Now it's called hate. Now you hate. Now it's hate speech. Now you're a Black supremacist. Right now you're a racist. And many such lewd names are attributed to us when we stand up for ourselves. Well, the law told us we're supposed to be set apart from these other nations. The Lord said he has separated us from the Greeks, the Canaanites, the Romans. Right? I'm going to read on. Verse 25. Ye shall therefore put a difference between a clean beast and unclean, between unclean fowls and clean. And ye shall not make your souls abominable by beast, or by fowl, or by any manner of living thing that creepeth on the ground, which I have separated from you as unclean. And ye shall be holy unto me, for I Yahweh am holy, and have severed you from other people, that ye should be mine. So we are severed from other people, and we belong strictly to the Most High. So when these Greeks came into power, chiefly Antiochus, we had to stand up for that law. And this is where the Maccabees come in, right? And we'll touch on that, right? So Alexander came into power and his heart was lifted up. Let's read on the first Maccabees 1 and 4, right? And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. And after these things, he fell sick and perceived that he should die, because he died of AIDS. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive, because he told these different men what regions they would get after his death. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule, every one in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. So what is the Apocrypha telling you? What is First Maccabees telling you? He's saying when the Most High saying when the so-called white man came into power, evils were multiplied in the earth. He is the one that brings the evil on the earth. It's not as if evil wasn't there, but they were tripled, quadrupled, sevenfold more evil is when the so-called white man comes on the earth. Right? Let's go to Proverbs. Right? Chapter 29. Right? Let's go to Proverbs chapter 29. Right? This is Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 16. When the wicked are multiplied, transgression increaseth, but the righteous shall see their fall. So when you have more Edomites on the earth, they're going to have more evil, right? I mean, it's plain. You're going to have sodomy. You're going to have sodomite flags. They're going to be given months. You're going to have NAMBLA, the National Association for Man-Boy Love. You're going to have child sacrifice and, sex trafficking. You're going to have the harvesting of organs and the murder of God's people in slavery. I mean, you're just going to have madness on the earth when there's more Edomites on the earth, right? Let's go to Proverbs 28 and 8. And that's what the Most High said, right? And that's why these Edomites don't want this Apocrypha out there, man. They don't want you to read First Maccabees, because then you're going to have to ask your pastor, why is God saying when the Edomites or the white man is in power that there is more evil on the earth? And he's going to have to answer that, right? And I would like to see what he has to say, right? Because he would have to agree that the Greeks are so-called white people. And then he would have to answer, why is there more evil on the earth when they are in power? Because every nation had a chance to rule, the Egyptians and the Assyrians and etc. But when they came into power, things got out of hand. Proverbs chapter 28 and verse 28. When the wicked rise, men hide themselves. But when they perish, the righteous increase. Right? And men are hiding themselves, man. When the police roll around, men hide themselves. When the American army comes around, people hide themselves. Right? These are the nations they hide. When the military invades their lands. When the wicked rise, people fear their life, man. They don't know what this devil's going to do. But when this devil goes down, the righteous are going to increase. All right? So let's go back to this. Right? The Lord said in First Maccabees 1 and 9, and after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. So out of Alexander's empire, really through the Seleucids, came Antiochus. Okay? Now, when you look up the Seleucid family tree, all right, let's pull up the Seleucid family tree. And you'll see from Seleucus the first Nicanor, and like I said, if you want more of an in-depth breakdown of Daniel 11 or the Greeks, then you check out the Daniel 11 Finally Explained on the Cold Cuts Resurrected channel. We cover in depth the Seleucid family tree and the Syrian wars, the 6 of them that they had with the Ptolemies, all right, or the Ptolemaic Empire. So Seleucus the first Nicanor was the general of Alexander the Great. Then you had Antiochus the first Soter, Antiochus the second Theos, Seleucus the second Callinicus, right? And then you had Seleucus the third Carianos, and this guy died, right? You go into this guy, his army was against him, and the people were against him, and he didn't last too long. So then Antiochus came into power. All right. Antiochus the third came into power, and the kingdom really belonged to Seleucus the fourth Philopator because Antiochus IV was a hostage. Part of the battle of Magnesia between Antiochus III the Great and the Ptolemies said that, well, you have to give up a lot of your hostages, right? Or a lot of your descendants, right? That's what the Romans required. So he was sent as a hostage in Rome, but he got out of Rome and he made a league with a lot of other Greek leaders, man. You know, he made a league with a lot of those Greeks and he came into power. That's how Antiochus came into power, because the kingdom didn't belong to him, but through flattery, like you read in Daniel 11, he was able to finesse his way, for lack of better terms, into a position of authority. And this guy was off, the most wicked in all the world. You'll hear some scholars say Antiochus, but Antiochus Epiphanes IV. Epiphanes means God manifest, because this man likened himself to a god. He fancied himself a god. Now, a lot of people around his time, his contemporaries, they didn't call him Epiphanes, they called him Epimenes. Epimenes means madman, right? Antiochus the madman, because how this man lived his life was as if this guy was insane. He was like bipolar, schizophrenic. This guy was bugged out, man. And this is the wicked man that came out of the root that we just read about in First Maccabees, right? He is the sole antagonist in the time of First and Second Maccabees, right? Antiochus the IV Epiphanes. Let's go back to this in First Maccabees. First Maccabees 1:10. And there came out of them a wicked root, right? Meaning out of the solutions. Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at Rome, and he reigned in 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. Okay. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So in those days, you had a lot of sellouts. You had a lot of sellouts that said, man, life has not been the same since we stopped following these heathen. I miss the days when we served these gods of these other nations. Life was good for us. Food was good, right? Housing was good, right? Everything was better when we served these other nations. I miss them. Let's go back to them, right? We've been depressed ever since we had to serve the Most High. We've had much sorrow and pain since we've been serving God. Let us serve the God to these other nations and see how much better life would be, right? And that's the mentality that Jake has to this damn day, man. You follow these other nations before you follow the Most High, thinking that they'll give you some type of handout and make you equal to them or give you a damn reward, man. Right? But let's read on. First Maccabees 1:12. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen. Then you had certain Jakes that said, look, it's not enough just to follow them. Let's see if we can get licenses. A license is like a permit, like a building permit or a construction permit, right? Or something of that nature. So they can actually build and reshape the city the way that the Greeks shaped their city, right? So they want to get a damn license, man. So they can actually really get this thing going, man. They can reshape how Jerusalem is and put a gym here and, destroy this temple and do this, right? That license is not a driver's license, right? It is essentially like a building permit or a construction permit to reshape and remodel Jerusalem to be after the fashion of the Greeks. Let's pull up the definition of license. Let's pull up a building, see, a building license. Right, that may not be the first, I mean, the technical word, right? Let's see, building. Yeah. You need a construction license. So these are, this is Maryland, but you need this stuff, man. You can't just build in your city. You can't just say, okay, I like the way Baltimore's laid out, but I think I want to build this. No, you got to check in with the so-called white man. And he has to say, well, according to zone 4, business ordinances, you can build here, but you can't do this. And you got to go through it's a big deal, man. To really, really remodel and reshape how a city is going to be built. Right? You need a building permit. Right? It says you can use Baltimore City's online permitting system to apply online for an e-plans permit. Right? Those with full construction documents and plans. And that's what Jake did, man. Instead of Baltimore City, they checked in with the Greeks. We need documents because we don't want nobody standing in our way saying, why are you building this gymnasium here? Why are you building this Circus Maximus here? Why are you building this damn bath here, this Greek bath? We want full authority. We don't want nobody in our way. We want to alter the city the way that we want to alter it, the way of the Greeks. And that's wicked, man. How are you going to reshape the city that the Most High set up? The Lord shaped Jerusalem the way he wanted it to be, man. Jerusalem is a holy city. Right? When you go to Psalms, let's go to Psalms chapter 48. It's the joy of the whole earth. Psalms chapter 48 and verse 1. Great is Yahweh, and greatly to be praised in the city of our God, in the mountain of his holiness. Beautiful for situation. The joy of the whole earth is Mount Zion. On the sides of the north, the city of the great king. The Most High is known in her. Palaces for a refuge. Right? Let's go to Psalms chapter 122. So the Most High, that's his chief city, man. Of all the builded cities, thou hast hallowed Zion unto thyself. That's 2 Ezra 5. Right? Psalms chapter 122 and verse 1. I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of Yahweh. Our feet shall stand within thy gates, O Jerusalem. Jerusalem is builded as a city that is compact together. Right? And they show you that if you watch that movie, Clarence, Book of Clarence, how they laid the city out was pretty accurate. It was compact together. And they had the lower city, the upper city, then they had the different districts, because that's how Jerusalem is built. Right? It's not built like a rural farmland. It's like a city compact together. All right. Whether the tribes go up, the tribes of the Lord, unto the testimony of Israel, to give thanks unto the name of Yahweh. So instead of the city being builded the way the Most High wanted it builded, you had heathen that said we want to remodel the city after Greek fashions. Let's read on in 1 Maccabees 1 and 14. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen. So they built the gymnasium, right? Remember the word, we've covered this plenty of times. The word gymnasium means to work out naked, essentially, right? Etymologically speaking, that's what it means, right? Gymnos, what's up? Gymnasium, right? Gymnasium says place of exercise. It says literally or figuratively, literally to train naked, from gymnos, naked, right? That's why people be in the gym with no clothes on, man. They pop their camera up and show that stuff on social media, man, right? Eve has tight clothes on and they put their camera up, and then Jake up there, he don't got no clothes on, and Eve looking at Jake, and Esau looking at Jake, and Jake looking at Jake, and Eve looking at Eve, and it's nothing but madness in there, man. Right? Sweat and lust and power, But hey, that goes back to the Greeks, man. Is it a sin to go to the gym? No, right. It's not a sin to go to the gym, but it does go back to the Greeks. All right. Now, I'm not gonna put up the Greek statues, right? I don't have it in me. You can look it up on your own. If you want to look up the Greek statues and how they would wrestle and throw that discus, and right, they were all naked. Right, that's how that UFC stuff be, man. This guy be having this guy pinned up on the ground, and that's that same Greek stuff, man. Let's read on. A feature of all ancient Greek communities. At first, it was merely an open space. So it was an open space for men to walk around naked. Later, with extensive facilities and including training for the mind as well as the body. Hence, its use in German from the 15th century as a name for high school. You see that? See that? So that, hey, this thing was going down up there, man. Right? It was going down up there. So the Jews, our forefathers said, yeah, we like that. Look how they walking around working out naked. Let's bring that to Jerusalem. Right? Let's read on. First Maccabees 1-15. And made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. Now, when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have dominion of 2 realms. So let's go to First Maccabees 2. So we pretty much see the Jews accepting willfully the ways of the Greeks. Let's go to First Maccabees chapter 2. Let's see what else happened. Right? So this is a time period of great apostasy. Right? During the time of Maccabees is a time period of great apostasy, meaning the great falling away, where many Israelites forsook the ways of the Most High and accepted the ways of the Greeks. All except a few good men. Right? First Maccabees chapter 2-1. We'll read about those men right now. In those days arose Mattathias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Jerub from Jerusalem, and dwelt at Modin. So these are Levites, right? And he had 5 sons. Johanan, called Cadiz, Simon, called Thasai, Judas, who was called Maccabeus, right? And Maccabeus means hammer, all right? Eleazar, called Aran, and Jonathan, whose surname was Apphis. So this man had 5 sons, right? 5 mighty sons. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, woe is me, wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers. And that's how we feel, man. When we see the so-called Jew walking up and down the land, having pink city, sodomite parties, damn Palestinians in the land, and heathen and Cushites, and just wickedness in that land, man. We hate to see our land being inhabited by strangers. Right? This is how he felt, man. That's the spirit that the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American man should have right now. You shouldn't be content being in America, man. Living in your house or whatever you live, your mansion or your apartment or your condo, paying your rent and your mortgage, man. This is not life. This isn't it. Tell you in Baruch chapter 3, we are yet this day in captivity. Right? Baruch 3-8 on down. When thou hast scattered us for reproach, paraphrasing, and to be subject unto payments, man. So this is actually hell that we're living in. Her temple, right? I mean, I think you're in another land. You don't know what the hell you're eating. The water is completely corrupted. You might be eating unclean things and you don't even know it. You're getting sick all the time. You got allergies and migraines and your back hurt, and You know, you got to pay rent or mortgage, or water bill, light bill, gas bill, health insurance, life insurance, car insurance, all types of insurance. You know, your damn check, you working, you know, X amount of hours. Then Esau, you look at your net check and your gross and your net, damn 50% difference, and Esau take X amount out of your damn check and pocket it. You know, you don't get it back. Your women don't respect you here, man. Your women in love with the so-called white man. They shaking they damn behind. Your sons are sodomites. Your brothers are murderers. These children are just wicked, man. Your priests are out of order. They have cooled out and have sold their soul. You don't have nothing here, man. I mean, what really do you have? Your clothes itch. They're not 100%. You don't have any land. You know? You can barely see. You got to wear glasses. Your body breaking down. You inheriting all types of debt. You know, you damn bad credit. You always you might have a damn disease you got from your great grandfather. You itch. Your hair might be falling out. You catching hell at your job. Right? So this place ain't it, man. Right? This is not it. And we can go on and on and on and on. We can go on and on. So for you brothers that think you made it and this is it, you need a reality check, man. Because you're in hell right now. You're in slavery. You're in bondage. This is not life. Right? But let's read on. So we feel Mattathias right here, man. Right? First Maccabees 2:8. Her temple is become as a man without glory. You see that? Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Yeah, you got your infants. They slain. They aborted. We had over 70 million babies aborted since like 1973. You know? Her young men with the sword of the enemy. You got young men getting shot in the streets by the police, lynched, hung, castrated, buck broke, decapitated. You know, they just found these young jakes behind the prison. I think that was in Alabama or Georgia, right? One of those down south. Slovakia. One of those down south states, man. They just found a lot of brothers down there, you know, just like a graveyard. So her young men with the sword of the enemy. What nation hath not had part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? So Mattathias proceeds to pour out his complaints to Yahweh Shemiah Shai. But let's see what happened. Let's jump down. Right? So this first Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 15. And the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came into the city Modin to make them sacrifice. So the so-called white man sent other men to try to get Israel to denounce the Most High. And when many of Israel came unto them, Mattathias also and his sons came together. So they came to see what was going on. Then answered the king's officers and said to Mattathias on this wise, thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in this city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. Now therefore come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done, yea, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem. So shalt thou and thine house be in number of the king's friends, and thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards. So this man knew who Mattathias was. And, you know, the so-called white man, like we always go into, the number one threat to him are the priests, right? It's not even the warriors. It's not even, you know, the men that go to war, right? But it's the priests, because the priests are the mediators between God and men. So if they can corrupt the priesthood, they can corrupt the entirety of the children of Israel. So that's why he had a report. He must have had a report on this guy said, when you go there to Modin, Mattathias is the guy you want to sell out first or get to sell out first. So he said, if you sell out, all of the Jews are going to sell out. Right? This is buck breaking. This is similar to what they did on the plantation. They would take the biggest, strongest Jake, the most hardworking, the Jake that had the most influence, and they would take that brother, string that brother up a lamppost or a tree post, and they'll beat this man and get him to denounce his God and look at Roots. What did he do to Coop the kid? They tied him up and he told him, your name is now Toby, right? If you haven't seen Roots, you watch it, you figure it out. They were buck breaking. They would take the biggest, strongest man, they would pop him in front of his son and all of the other strong men so he could so-called show his power. This is what he wanted. This is nothing but ancient form of an attempted buck break. Same thing that Esau do now when he got these top guys wearing the dress. The biggest, strongest Jake, they putting dresses on. They want Shaq to wear a dress. They don't want no damn average Joe in Chicago or Brooklyn or Detroit or LA to wear a dress. They're not worried about that. They want the strongest, most influential, most affluent Jake, and they said, make that man wear a dress. Shaq, LeBron James, Vig Rames, all these big, swole, strong Negroes, they bent them over and made them wear a dress. That's what First Maccabees 2:18 is, right? So he said, look, you go first. You sell out first. Everybody else going to sell out. Let's see what happened. First Maccabees 2:19. Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him, and fall away every one from the religion of their fathers, and give consent to his commandments, yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our father. So everybody else is going to sell out. We're going to keep these commandments. God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances. So they said, we're not going to forsake the laws, man. God forbid. Right? We will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion, meaning your laws and your statutes and your commandments, either on the right hand or the left. So he gave this great mighty speech, man. But let's see what happened. Now, when he had left speaking all these words, now when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar, which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment. And there's always a Negro like this, right? This guy, he's walked the earth plenty of times. Here you have Mattathias, who gave this powerful speech about integrity and honor and godliness and being upright and not conforming to the ways of the heathen. Then this one Jake said, nah, to hell with that. I want that money. That money he offered, that gold, that silver, I want that. So he takes his swine's flesh, right? And he says, man, to hell with Mattathias said, I'm going to get this money. Then he throw his swine's flesh on the altar. He probably looked at Mattathias, probably rubbed his hands, and let's see what happened. Which thing, when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment. Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar. So he ran full speed, and I'm led to believe he chopped this guy's head off, man. He saw this was an Israelite that sold out, and the Levites still do that. They did it during the time of Moses. When Moses said in Exodus chapter 32 and 26, who was on the Lord's side? And the Lord told the sons of Levi, slay ye every man his brother. Phineas did something like that in Numbers 25 and wrought an everlasting priesthood between his seed and the Most High. Levi himself, the third son of Jacob, had zeal with Simeon and slew all of the Hittites, Hamor, Shechem, And all of those men, man, for defiling Dinah, which thing ought not to be done. So that's the spirit of a Levite, right? A Levite has mighty zeal, right? That goes back to their blessing, right? Let's get the blessing. Okay, let's go to Deuteronomy, right? Chapter 33 and verse 8. And of Levi he said, let thy Thummim and thy Urim be with thy Holy One, whom thou didst prove at Massah, and with whom thou didst strive at the waters of Meribah. So Thummim and Urim is a light and perfection, or perfection and light, right? A Warium, Wathamyum, right? A Warium is the light, and the Thamium is the perfection, right? These were stones used for divine judgment by the high priest. All right, they were with the Levites for judgment and for matters that were too high for ordinary elders and men. Verse 9, here's what the Lord said about Levi, who said unto his father and to his mother, I have not seen him, neither did he acknowledge his brethren, nor knew his own children, for they have observed thy word and kept thy covenant. They shall teach Jacob thy judgments and Israel thy law. They shall put incense before thee and whole burnt sacrifice upon thine altar. So this says that Levi doesn't care if you're your father, his father, or you're his mother, or if you're his brethren, or if you're his children. Nothing's going to stop them from observing the word and keeping the covenant. Right? And that's the spirit that Mattathias had. He didn't care that this guy was an Israelite. He slew this man, right? Upon the altar. Let's see what else happened. First Maccabees 2 and 25. Also, the king's commissioner, who compelled men to sacrifice, he killed at that time, and the altar he put down. Thus dealt he zealously for the law of God, like as Phinehas did unto Zambri, the son of Salom. And Mattathias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me. So he slew the officer who tried to get him to sell out. He killed the Jake that did sell out, and the man that was with the officer. He slew everybody, and the Most High was with that. And he said, if you want to serve the Most High, follow me. If you want to follow the Greeks, you can stay here. So he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that they ever had in the city. And these days may come back on earth. You know, we're not going to be able to just be in a comfortability of our own home forever. You know, the prophecy says that we will be pilgrims on the earth. You know, and the Lord said, then shall they be known who are my chosen, for they shall be tried as gold in the fire. So these days are going to come back on the earth, where you're going to have Israelites that are going to sell out, man. And then other Israelites, they're going to have to be a pilgrim on the earth. That's the reality of what's coming to the sons of God, right? Let's get that in Second Ezra, right? No new thing is under the sun, right? We cannot think that this Bible is just about fun and games. Things are about to get real, man. And they're going to get real really fast. Second Ezra, chapter 16 and 40. O my people, hear my word, make you ready to the battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. That was like Mattathias and his 5 sons. They could no longer live in the comfortability of their own home due to great apostasy and rebellion, right? The time of Maccabees was a forced conversion from the laws and the commandments to a Hellenized lifestyle. And if you didn't bow down to the Hellenized lifestyle, you were killed. Mattathias led a rebellion, right? And let's go back to this in First Maccabees. Actually, I'm going to jump down, right? This Second Ezra, chapter 16 and verse 70. This is a future prophecy. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. So rather you in Miami, Dallas, Houston, don't matter where you at, Cleveland, Philly, New York, there's going to be a great insurrection, meaning the so-called white man is going to come against the Israelites that serve the Most High, that keep the commandments. These days are coming. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. So it's going to be a slaughter. Esau's not going to handcuff you and, okay, here's your warning. I'm going to give you a ticket. I'm going to give you a fine. They're going to be killing multitudes of the saints. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. This is serious, man. These are the things that we have to be ready for. We should be building up ourselves and faith. You should be praying for faith, praying for the mercy of the Most High. The Lord said in Isaiah 33:6 on down, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. Those are also things that you should be acquiring from the Most High. Because when adversity comes in the hour of temptation, all you're going to have is your faith in the Most High. Right? You're already keeping the law. All you're going to have is your faith and hope, right? Faith and the hope that the Most High is going to deliver you from those foresaid evils. Even if you have to give your life for this truth, you have to have faith that the Lord is going to resurrect you. All right? So serious times are coming. And Yahweh Shah said it best. The Lord said in Luke 18:7, and shall not the Most High avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear along with them. Right? It says, I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth? Paraphrasing. So he asks, shall he find faith on the earth? Because the things that we're going to see and experience and go through is going to be something that we as a nation have never went through before. And it's going to be more severe than the time of Maccabees. All right. And you're going to be taken out of your house, man. Cast out of your house. And your goods are going to be forcibly taken away. You're going to be in a prison camp, or you're going to be a pilgrim on earth. Mattathias, he willingly became a pilgrim on the earth. Let's go to 1 Maccabees chapter 2. So no new thing is under the sun. Right? 1 Maccabees. Actually, let's go to Daniel. Right? Let's go to Daniel chapter 11. Right? Let's get another thing that happened during this time, another event. This is Daniel chapter 11 and 31. And arms shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate. So this is a prophecy that when Mattathias will revolt, this would be a time where the Greeks, led by Antiochus, would violate and profane and desecrate the temple of the Most High. They would pollute it and put swine's flesh on the altar. They were dealing with little boys and harlots and prostitutes inside of the temple. And they made the most holy place a place of revelry and abomination. Right? Verse 32. And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries. Because you have men that sold out. And they were corrupted by the gifts and the favors of Antiochus. Men like Jason, Menelaus, right? These men tried to buy the priesthood and they were corrupted. So you had a lot of people that sold out at that time. But what? But the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits. Right? Does not the scripture say, and hereby we do know that we know him, if we keep his commandments? He that saith, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments is a liar, and the truth is not in him. In 1 John chapter 2, 3 on down. So when it says the people that do know their God, that's not an emotional thing. That is, these people are going to uphold the laws and the commandments. Those people are going to be strong in adversity, and those people are going to do mighty works, which the Bible calls exploits. And this is speaking about what people? The Maccabees. These are the people that know their God, right? So let's go to First Maccabees. Let's go to First Maccabees chapter 2, and we're going to jump down. Right? First Maccabees. Actually, let's go to First Maccabees 3. So Mattathias fought his wars in his life, and Mattathias gave up the ghost. Now, when Mattathias gave up the ghost, he passed the leadership of this rebellion to his son Judas. Judas had Simon as a counselor, he had Jonathan as a chief captain, and his other brothers as captains. Right? This is what you call the Hasmonean dynasty. And this is something that they refuse to teach in modern day academia. Right? You have to go to some elite school to learn about the Hasmonean kingdom because it is not taught publicly. Right? So here's the Hasmonean kingdom, which is essentially the kingdom of the Maccabees. Okay. Now, this is a map legend right here, and the color code shows the expansion of the kingdom. From Jonathan, how the kingdom expanded is everything in this color. Then when Simon came into power, right? And then John Hyrcanus, and then John and Aristobulus and Alexander Janot. And it shows eventually how the kingdom was just this region of Jerusalem, Jericho, and Beth Zur, and it expanded to Modin and Lod. And eventually, when Alexander came into power, he stretched the kingdom almost to Egypt. Right? So this is the Hasmonean kingdom. This was a time when the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American man utterly annihilated and wiped out the so-called white man in war. Right? And the so-called white man had an advantage. He had a stronger military. He had better technology, better weaponry, but the battle was the Most High's, right? And there's nothing too hard for the Most High, right? So the Most High could shut up a few or many. The Lord used the Maccabees to shut up and destroy an entire kingdom of that time. All right. So let's pull up the Hasmonean family tree. Hasmonean family tree. Right? So when you look at the Hasmonean family tree, it's going to start with Mattathias. It's going to go to his sons. All right, let's get another one. Let's see. Bear with me. I want to find a good map. Good family tree. Okay, this is plain. So you have Mattathias and his sons John, Simon, Judas, Eleazar, and Jonathan. So Judas was the man, right? But then Judas was slain in battle. And then Simon came, then Jonathan came into power. And then Jonathan was treacherously murdered. And then Simon came into power, right? So all of these men led the rebellion and a war against the Greeks. Now, when we're dealing with Nicanor, Nicanor was an adversary during this reign. He was an Edomite general set up by the king to destroy the Jews in this time period of Judas, Simon, and Jonathan. All right. And we'll touch on that. So this is First Maccabees 3. Then I want to jump down. Right. So this is First Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 1. So again, we're covering the background of the destruction of Nicanor, which is a high holy day that falls this so-called Wednesday night at sundown. Wednesday night at sundown to Thursday night at sundown is Purim. It's destruction of Nicanor. Say that again. Wednesday night at sundown to Thursday night at sundown is the destruction of Nicanor. Then Thursday night at sundown until Friday night at sundown is day 1 of Purim. And Friday night at sundown until Saturday night at sundown is day 2 of Purim. Purim lasts 2 days. So the 13th day of the month of Adar is the destruction of Nicanor. The 14th day of the month of Adar is Purim. And the 15th day of the month of Adar is the final day of Purim. So we're going through the background of Nicanor or the destruction of Nicanor, and how this high holy day came to be for those that are just coming in, right? So now we're up to speed with Judas Maccabees, right? He came into power after his father died. So this first Maccabees chapter 3 and 1. Then his son Judas, called Maccabeus, rose up in his stead, and all his brethren helped him. And so did all they that held with his father. And they fought with cheerfulness the battle of Israel. So he gat his people great honor, and put on a breastplate as a giant, and girt his warlike harness about him, and he made battles, protecting the host with the sword. And his axe, he was like a lion, and like a lion's whelp, roaring for his prey. See, when you watch those movies like 300, Gladiator, that those scenes they had, you know, when they hitting people with the shield and lifting them up and slicing them and spinning backwards. Judas, that was light work compared to Judas, right? And they won't make a Maccabees movie like we say, man. They'll make a Book of Clarence movie, but they won't make a Maccabees movie. If they make a Maccabees movie, man, the so-called white man, they're going to protest that movie. That's racist. It was too many white men dying. I don't like the way you did that, and that was bias. And so they're not going to put that out there, man. The day they make a Maccabees movie and have an all Jake cast, they'll burn down these movie theaters, man. They'll try to kill these damn actors, man. Imagine that. You got brothers playing Judas. You got brothers playing Simon, Jonathan, Mattathias. You got people playing the Edomites, Nicanor, you know, Georgius, Lysias, Apollonius, you know, all of these damn demons. That'd be a hell of a movie. But they're not going to put that out there because they're going to be essentially spilling the beans on who the Jews are. So Judas Maccabees was like a lion destroying the heathen. Now in his battles, he vexed the heathen and expanded his land, and he destroyed Apollonius and Lysias and Georgius and Trophimus and all of these men that stood against him, to the point where the king said, okay, we're going to send our top man. Our top man is Nicanor. So let's read about this. So this is First Maccabees, chapter 7. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I'm going to jump down. Right? First Maccabees, chapter 7, and verse 26. Then the king sent Nicanor, one of his honorable princes, a man that bare deadly hate unto Israel, with commandment to destroy the people. So you know he was an Edomite. Now, I don't say Nicanor the Edomite or Nicanor Esau, right? But his spirit, right, is that of Esau. Deadly hate. And that hate goes back to the womb. Does it not say in Genesis 25 and 25, or 25, 22 on down, and the children struggled together within her? And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? So when you have Jacob and Esau, you're always going to have that conflict. You're always going to have tension. It's always going to be a struggle or a war between Jacob and Esau. All right. And that hate goes back to to actually Esau. What did Esau say, right, in Genesis 27? Let's go back to that. This is Genesis chapter 27 and verse 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob. So he's always had this in his heart. Now you could say, well, that's not every so-called white man. That is every so-called white man. He may not have shown it yet, but it's inside of him. It's embedded somewhere in him. And it's going to come out. So you trust Esau and you sit him at your right hand and you think that thing's sweet. You're going to find out once he damn backstabs you and overthrows the entire kingdom. So Esau hated Jacob. This is around 1800 or so BC, man. Well over 4,000 years ago, the hatred between a so-called white man and a so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American man has always been there. There's nothing new. All right. Let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 33. Right? This is Genesis, chapter 30. Actually, I'm going to start at 32. Right? This is Genesis, chapter 32, and verse 3. So Jacob had to pass through Esau, right? So let's see what happened when Jacob encountered Esau. And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau, his brother, unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom. And Jacob had to send messengers because Jacob was outnumbered. He knew Esau wanted to kill him. So he couldn't just walk up on Esau as if, things were okay. Jacob had to handle this matter with a high level of shrewdness and subtlety. So here's what he did. And he commanded them, saying, thus shall ye speak unto my lord Esau. Thy servant Jacob said thus, I have sojourned with Laban and stayed there until now. And I have oxen and asses, flocks, and men servants, and women servants. And I have sent to tell my lord that I might find grace in thy sight. And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, we came to thy brother Esau, and he also cometh to meet thee, and 400 men with him. So what the hell does Esau need 400 men for, man? What type of response is that? Jacob said, look, I was living with our uncle Laban. I was able to get this money and his wealth. Do you need anything? I came to tell you. And now Esau, he coming out to show damn power, coming out with 400 men. That's not sincere. Ain't no way my brother going to say, I had seen my brother in X amount of years, over damn almost 30 years or so. And he sent a message to me, look, I'm in town, I'm coming in, and I show up with 400 men, and we all got guns. That's wicked. But that's Esau for you, man. That's in the spirit. Came out with 400 men ready for war. He came out with an army. Just to vex his brother, right? Let's see what happened. Then Jacob was greatly afraid. He probably, well, what the hell is this, man? Right? And distressed, and divided the people that was with him, and the flocks, and the herds, and the camels into two bands. So Jacob had to think on his feet, right? And he had to split his family up because he didn't want them all slaughtered at one time. If it went down, he knew things was about to go down, so he had to kind of be prudent. And said, if Esau come to the one company and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape. So let's jump down, right? So Jacob prayed to the Most High, right? And then Jacob, I'm not going to read this whole thing. What Jacob essentially did, let's go to Genesis. I went 33. Jacob sent gifts to Esau, essentially to flatter him and to corrupt him, right? That's why Jacob, he sent gifts, and he sent oxen, and he sent asses, and he sent gold, all to Esau to corrupt him with flatteries, because he knew Esau's spirit, right? So Jacob had a lot of wisdom. He said, I'm going to get this man, I'm going to send one company after another, because that's how Esau is, man. He's a blood-hungry, money-hungry demon, all right? Now, let's see what happened, right? This account shows that Esau and Jacob, that spirit was still there. And Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept, right? And Esau lifted up his eyes and saw the women and the children and said, who are those with thee? And he said, thy children, which God hath graciously given thy servant. And I'm led to believe, when Esau embraced him and kissed him and wept, he was thinking about how can I kill him? Because that's what the so-called white man does, man. Right? Didn't the Lord say when he speaketh fair, right? Believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. Proverbs chapter 26 and 25. When he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart, whose hatred is covered by deceit. His wickedness shall be showed before the whole congregation. So don't get it twisted, man. Just because the so-called white man shake your hand at work and, gives you that so-called job and holds the door for you and, whatever. It doesn't mean a damn thing, man. He's still the damn devil and a demon and Satan, right? And he can't change that. So don't let them tears and all of that fool you. Jacob didn't let that get to him, right? Jacob, he could see through that. We're going to read that, all right? And he brought up the Most High, he brought up the Most High. And I'm led to believe Esau felt some type of way when he brought up the Most High. Like, man, yeah, whatever, right? He said, the children which the Most High hath graciously given thy servant, because Esau didn't believe in the Most High. Then the handmaidens came near, they and their children, and they bowed themselves. Like, now you got to go to work. You can't just tell Esau you're an Israelite, man. And pull Revelation 13 and 9. You got to essentially, you might have to shake his hand, man, and, say good morning, or, you got it down, whatever you got to do to survive and be wise as a serpent. That's what Jacob's family had to do. All right. And Leah also, and her children came near and bowed themselves. And after came Joseph near and Rachel, and they bowed themselves. And he said, what meanest thou by all this drove which I had met? And he said, these are to find grace in the sight of my Lord. So he said, all of the wealth that you sent before I met you and the hordes of gifts. Jacob said that was, so I could find grace in your sight, right? Essentially to pacify you. And Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep thou hast unto thyself. But let's see what happened. Because a lot of people, Esau changed. Right? You got brothers, they read Genesis 33 and they think Esau changed. Okay, Esau, he wept and, he loved Jacob and he said, I have enough, my brother, right? Maybe Esau finally turned over a new leaf, right? Maybe he finally, put away sin. What scripture is that? Where Esau finally put away sin. Thus Esau repented. There's no scripture on that, man. And the Most High came to Esau at noonday. And the Most High said, Esau, wilt thou repent? And Esau said, yea, my Lord, here I am. I have repented even this day. And the Most High said, very well, my son, thou art part of the adoption now. Right? Surely salvation is nigh unto thee. And Esau said, call Lord Yahweh Bashmi Yahusha. Where is that at, man? There's no scripture that says that. So when you read these accounts of Esau, remember who this devil is. Let's read this again, Genesis 33 and 9. And Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep that thou hast unto thyself. And Jacob said, nay, I pray thee, if now I have found grace in thy sight, then receive my present at my hand. For therefore I have seen thy face, as though I had seen the face of God, and thou was pleased with me. Did Jacob really mean that Esau was like the Most High? No, man. It's what you call subtlety, right? Flattery, right? Tapping into Esau by flattery. Take, I pray thee, my blessing that is brought to thee, because the Most High hath dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough. And he urged them, and he took it. So Esau couldn't help himself. He took it because he really wanted it. And he said, because he had no integrity, he has no honor. First, he said he has enough, then he took it, right? And he said, let us take our journey and let us go, and I will go before thee. So here's what Esau said. All right, I met you. Let's walk together. Follow me. We're going to go back to my spot. That's what he said. Let us take our journey. Let us go. I will go before thee. meaning me and my 400 men, I want you and your family to follow me. We're going back to Mount Seir. We're going to kick it. Let's go back to my crib. We're going to kick it. Let's see what Jacob said. And he said unto him, my Lord knoweth that the children are tender, and the flocks and the herds with young are with me. And if men should override them in one day, all the flock will die. So Jacob trying to get out of this. Right? He don't want to go back with Esau. So he's pulling up these excuses, man. Right? Jake is known for making an excuse, man. Off the top of the head. Jake, you do it all the time, man. You know, you're using bereavement and nobody died at work. You're making excuses on why you late, and you know you're good at that, man. Jake is very good at subtlety, and Jake is very witty. We're a clever people, and we know how to finesse this system, man. Like Jacob. Jacob means to supplant. We know how to supplant Esau. So right now, Jacob is supplanting Esau. Esau, he wants to take Jacob back home. Jacob said, hell nah. Hell nah, man. Who's going to follow the so-called white man back to his crib? Jacob said, nah, hell nah. Look. We tired. We worn out. Woo, man, we need the rest. That's what Jacob said. Man, look, we worn out. Let's see what Jacob also said. Right? Let my Lord, I pray thee, pass over before his servant, and I will lead on softly, according as the cattle that goeth before me, and the children be able to endure until I come unto my Lord unto Seir. So Jacob said, look, you go, look, I'll see you at Mount Seir. I'll see you there. Do you think Jacob really wanted to go to Mount Seir? No. He said, look, we worn out. Look, you go first. I'll see you there. I'll meet you there. So he was all in Esau's mind, man. He gave him all these gifts, all this money, all this gold. He urged him. He took it, you know. He said, yeah, I'll see you there. Jacob always doing that, man. Right? So Jacob was a mastermind. Right? He said, we're going to rest, but I'm going to see you at Mount Seir. Let's see what happened. And Esau said, so Esau was probably thinking, I don't really know. I'm led to believe Esau, he was kind of catching on, but he couldn't get it. That's why he said this. And Esau said, let me now leave with thee some of the folk that are with me. I mean, let me leave some of my men with you. Right? And he said, what needeth it? Let me find grace in the sight of my Lord. So he said, let me leave some of my men with you. Jacob said, no, we don't need that. We cool on that. We all right. Right? So let's see what happened. So Esau returned that day on his way into Seir. And Jacob journeyed to Succoth. So where's the account of Jacob meeting Esau at Mount Seir? I thought Jacob said, until I come unto my Lord unto Seir. Why is Jacob going the other way and building a house? That's called supplanting. Because he knew Esau still hated him. And if he was to go to Mount Seir, he'd get killed, man. He knew if he went to Mount Seir, his whole family be slaughtered. He said, I'll see you there, you fool. He probably said that in his mind. And Esau, okay. And Esau was probably at Mount Seir waiting for him, huh? Yeah, we're going to get him. Now's the day we can finally slay Jacob. And then Jacob went to Succoth, and he built the house, man. He never went to Mount Seir. He never had any plans on going to Mount Seir. That was never part of his deal, man. You know, he got promises sent to him by the Most High. He got to, from the land of Canaan, man. He got to go back. He got his family with him. He's not going to Mount Seir. So this shows how Esau has always hated Jacob. He came up with 400 men, and he wanted to kill Jacob, man, at Mount Seir. Let's get another account. So this deadly hate that Nicanor had is nothing new, man. This is Numbers chapter 20 and verse 7. I'll start at 14. Another account between Jacob and Esau. And Moses sent messengers from Kadesh unto the king of Edom. Thus saith thy brother Israel, thou knowest all the travail that hath befallen us, how our fathers went down into Egypt, and we have dwelt in Egypt a long time, and the Egyptians vexed us and our fathers. And when we cried unto Yahweh, he heard our voice, and sent an angel, and hath brought us forth out of Egypt. And behold, we are in Kadesh, a city in the uttermost of thy border. Here's what Jacob said to Esau. Let us pass, I pray thee, through thy country. We will not pass through the fields or through the vineyards, neither will we drink of the water of the wells. We will go by the king's highway. We will not turn to the right hand, nor to the left, until we have passed thy borders. And check this out. And Edom said unto him, thou shalt not pass by me, lest I come out against thee with the sword. But where the hell did that come from, huh? You better not enter into my land, or I'm coming out with you and I'm gonna kill you. You would have thought, okay, Jacob, he came out of Egypt. He just came out of slavery. He just trying to get back to his land. Let me just give him a shortcut to go through. You know, he's not going to harm anybody or destroy anything. Just take him, just escort him back to his land. Esau has always hated Jacob. Thou shalt not pass by me, lest I come out against thee with the sword. And the children of Israel said unto him, we will go by the highway. And if I and my cattle drink of thy water, then I will pay for it. I will only, without doing anything else, go through on my feet. And he said, thou shalt not go through. And Edom came out against him with much people and with the strong hand. So that's the same thing he did in Genesis 33. When Esau always coming out, huh? You know, you get pulled over, you know, might be a traffic stop, then 5 damn police cars out there, man. Esau always want to come out with a strong hand. You got one guy in Yemen somewhere who made a damn bottle rocket and threw it at a embassy, and now Esau want to come out with 50 jets and bomb a hospital and a school. Always trying to show his power, man. Thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through his border, wherefore Israel turned away from him. So that's another account of the hatred of Esau and Jacob. It's not just Maccabees. This goes back from the womb when Jacob met Esau, even in the time of the wilderness, right? Let's get another account. So this deadly hate that Nicanor had, this goes back. And that same hate is still inside the so-called white man to this day. Let's go to the book of Judith. Right, this is the book of Judith, chapter 7 and verse, we'll start at 6. So this is the siege that Holofernes did to Bethulia, right, out there in Judea, right? He had a siege and he wanted to destroy the Jews at this time. Let's see what happened. He wasn't able to do it, but let's see what went down. So this is Judith chapter 7 and 6. Right, so like here, Judith chapter 7 and 6. Right, it reads, but in the second day, Holofernes brought forth all his horsemen. And so like in the sight of the children of Israel, which were in Bethulia. And Holofernes was a Syrian, right? But he was really under the Nebuchadnezzar. So here's what he did. And viewed the passages up to the city, and came to the fountain of their waters, and took them, and set garrisons of men of war over them, and he himself removed towards the people. So Holofernes went and stopped up the wells and the fountain so we couldn't have any water, right? This is what they do in ancient warfare, right? They would stop your water and from coming in the city. If you had an aqueduct or a fountain, they would shut it up, or a well, or they would stop food from coming in. Right? That's how you do a siege. So this is a war between the Babylonians and the children of Israel. But guess who got involved? Let's find out in verse 8. Guess who wasn't invited, who had nothing to do with it, but they just hate Israel so much, they got to get involved. Verse 8, then came unto him all the chief of the children of Esau. Who called Esau, man? He came on his own accord. He said, oh yeah, y'all trying to kill Israel? We went in on this. Then came unto him all the chief of the children of Esau, and all the governors of the people of Moab, and the captains of the sea coast, and said, let our Lord now hear a word, that there be not an overthrow in thine army. So he's just giving the intel, man. I got some secrets on how you could kill the people of God. So even if Esau isn't in direct conflict with Israel, he's going to find a way to give intel to these other nations on how to overthrow Israel. And look at the intel he gave in verse 10. For this people of the children of Israel do not trust in their spears, but in the height of the mountains wherein they dwell, because it is not easy to come up to the tops of their mountains. Now, therefore, my Lord, fight not against them in battle array, and there shall not so much as one man of thy people perish. Remain in thy camp, and keep all the men of thine army, and let thy servants get into their hands the fountain of water, which issueth forth of the foot of the mountain. For all the inhabitants of Bethulia have their water thence, so shall thirst kill them, and they shall give up their city. And we, look at this, and we, now is we all of a sudden. You wasn't invited into this battle. You had nothing to do with it. But now when Israel is about to be destroyed in war, now it's we. Right? And we and our people shall go up to the tops of the mountains that are near, and we will camp upon them to watch that none go out of the city. So that's why we hate the so-called white man, right? That's why we can't stand Esau. Always getting involved. Always showing that hatred, that deadly hate. That deadly hate, man. Let's get another account. Let's go to Obadiah. Right? Let's go to Obadiah. We'll go to Obadiah verse 11. Right? This Obadiah verse, I'm going to start at 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Right? And we, time would fail us to cover every act of violence that was done to us by Esau. All right? Let's read on. And the day that thou stoodest on the other side, and the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou was as one of them. So Obadiah is talking about the Babylonian siege. The strangers are the Babylonians, the Chaldeans, who carried us away captive and led us to Babylon and destroyed Jerusalem. When the Babylonians did that, the Most High said, you was right there. You're always in the mix, man. Even thou was as one of them. You stood on the other side and cheered on as Jerusalem was destroyed. But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother, and the day that he became a stranger. Neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah and the day of their destruction. Neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. Thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. So they came in and they robbed us, man, in a war that they had nothing to do with. 586 BC. Some are 586 BC to be exact. The cities and the wall of Jerusalem is destroyed, and Esau comes out the damn dark and starts robbing us. Right? Verse 14. Not only did they rob us, what does verse 14 say? Neither shouldest thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. Neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. So when we were fleeing from the Babylonians, Esau stood on the exits and they was killing us as we was trying to flee. That's that deadly hatred. Any opportunity that this devil can get, he's going to do it. Look at Haman and Purim, man. Haman spent thousands of money or shekels, drachms, whatever currency he used, he paid out of his own expense to King Ahasuerus to destroy the Jews. Out of his own expense, right? So, these are various accounts of that hatred always being there, right? Let's get this. Let's go to Ezekiel 35. Ezekiel chapter 35 and 5, right? Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, and the time of their calamity, and the time that their iniquity had an end. So Ezekiel, he's prophesying of the same thing that Obadiah prophesied of the everlasting hatred. That's what perpetual means. Everlasting, immortal, forever, eternity. That hatred will always be there. It's inside of them. Verse 6. Therefore, as I live, said the Lord God, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sit thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. I mean, if you want to murder people, I'm going to kill you. You want to kill, I'm going to kill you. You want to enslave, I'm going to enslave you. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. Right? So the Most High has judgment coming upon Esau. And that's why we have to go into Nicanor, because this is a man that bore deadly hate unto Israel. Deadly hate. Right? Let's get this. First Maccabees 7 and 26 again. Then the king sent Nicanor, one of his honorable princes, a man that bare deadly hate unto Israel, with commandment to destroy the people. So Nicanor came to Jerusalem with a great force, and sent unto Judas and his brethren deceitfully with friendly words, saying, that's how this devil get down, right? He wanted be deceitfully by using friendly words, or deal deceitfully, but act like he friendly, man. Like Esau when he encountered Jacob. Like Esau when he came to this side of the world. How this devil is all day, every day. Don't let those friendly words get you, man. You're not loved. Let me just put this out there. He doesn't love you. Them Edomites at your job, they still hate you, man. They're just waiting for an opportunity for you to slip up. Sometimes we got to remind Jake, because you think that, no, I got it made, man. Esau. Now, the Most High can't have these enemies treat you well, right? We understand that. That's Proverbs 16 and 7. Right? When a man's ways pleaseth the Lord, he causeth even his enemies to be at peace with him. We get that. That's true. They can be at peace with you. The Most High can put a spirit on them. Right? But deep down inside of them, that hatred doesn't go away. Right? So that's how he wanted to get with Judas. He knew he couldn't beat him one-on-one. So he tried to use deceit to overthrow him. First Maccabees 7 and 28. Let there be no battle between me and you. I will come with a few men that I may see you in peace. You see that? I want to see you in peace. He came therefore to Judas, and they saluted one another peaceably. Howbeit, the enemies were prepared to take Judas away by violence. So Esau had men in the cut, right, waiting to capture Judas and kill him. But he acted as if he wanted to come peaceably. So this is a pure devil right here, a serpent. That's what he's called, the serpent, the dragon, the thief, the liar, the hypocrite. Verse 30. Which thing after it was known to Judas, To wit, that he came unto him with deceit. He was so afraid of him and would see his face no more. So Judas said, I can't deal with this damn demon no more, right? Nicanor also, when he saw that his counsel was discovered, went out to fight against Judas besides for Salama, right? So he said, hey, look, you figured me out. I'm a devil. I can't hide it. I'm a demon. I'm going to just fight against you, all right? That's what happened when you pull Esau a card, that demon come out. You know, a lot of times at camp, we've experienced that. We've experienced the devil. You might cut him up and he might want to shake your hand, right? See, he'll act like he's still friendly and he'll shake you, shake my hand. And when you deny shaking this devil hand, you know, them horns come out, right? Them true horns come out. That shaking his hand is the last sign, his last attempt to get you by deceit. That's his last attempt. They show you that in the movie Django when what's his name, Leonardo DiCaprio wanted to shake the other Edomite hand because he knew he got outwitted and outsmarted in that movie. If you watch the movie, you know what I'm talking about. He outsmarted Leonardo DiCaprio, and he was like, well, look, the deal isn't finalized until you shake my hand, you know. And the other Edomite called him a sore loser, man, because he knew what he would. Them Edomites know what they be doing, man. They play them sodomite, corrupt mental games. If he shake my hand, that mean I really won. So then the other Edomite, you know, he didn't want to shake his hand. He ended up shooting this guy, man, because he knew that he was a devil, like he was a devil, right? But he tried to be a good devil, but you can't be a good devil, man. All right, if you watch the movie, you know what I'm talking about. So Esau, he always, once you discover his plots and plans, he comes at you with anger and wrath. All right. And that's what's going on in First Maccabees 7:31. Let's read on to verse 32. So Nicanor's plot was discovered, and he sought to fight against Judas, where there were slain of Nicanor's side about 5,000 men, and the rest fled unto the city of David. See that? After this went Nicanor up to Mount Zion, and there came out of the sanctuary certain of the priests and certain of the elders of the people to salute him peaceably, and to show him the burnt sacrifice that was offered for the king. But he mocked them and laughed at them and abused them shamefully and spake proudly. So how are you mocking the priest, man? Laughing at the priest, abusing them, probably tugging on their garments, pushing them out the way, man, slapping the sacrifice out their hand, spitting on them, you know, tripping them. These are the priests of the Most High, man. No type of fear of the Most High. And let's see what else this demon said. And swore in his wrath, saying, unless Judas and his host be now delivered into my hands, if I ever come again in safety, I will burn up this house. And that he went out in a great rage. He said, if I don't kill Judas, when I come back, I'm burning up the temple. So that's proud. See, this devil always thinks he has power to do something. I'm going to burn up the temple of the Most High. I'm going to commit arson and burn up where the sacrifices are being done. That's wicked. That's the same thing Pontius Pilate said, look, don't you know I got power to crucify you and to kill you? Right? This John 19 and verse 10. Then saith Pilate unto him, speaking to Yahushua, right? Then saith Pilate unto him, speakest thou not unto me? Knowest thou not that I have power to crucify thee, and I have power to release thee? Just like Nicanor, I'm gonna have power to burn up the temple. Like you could just do that. Like Pilate said, you know, I got power. I could kill you right now. That's what he was telling the Lord, man. Yahushua, Hamashiach, our King. I could kill you right now. or I can free you right now. You under my control. I'm running this. Esau, like Pontius Pilate, like Herod, like this devil, he always think that he's running something, man. See, we know in the spirit that Esau, he's just a tool used by the Most High. And that's what Yahushua is about to tell him. John 19 and 11. Yahushua answered, thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. Therefore, he that delivered me unto thee hath the greater sin. So you say, Yahushua said, you don't have no power unless the Most High give you power. You damn demon, you devil. So Yahushua cut him, man, because that's what's written in scriptures. Right? The only power that this so-called white man has is because the Most High gave him power, right? This is Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 15. Shall the axe boast itself against him that heweth therewith? Or shall the saw magnify itself against him that shaketh it? As if the rod should shake itself against them that lift it up, or as if the staff should lift up itself as if it were no wood. So what is this saying? Imagine you chopping down a tree with an axe, and the axe starts saying, damn, I'm doing a hell of a job. Look at me doing this work. I'm so strong. I'm so sharp. I'm a mighty axe. The axe only has power because of the man controlling the axe. That's what the Most High is telling Esau. You're just the axe, man. I'm the hewer. You're the axe. You're the saw. How are you going to magnify yourself? You're just a saw. You're a tool in the shed, and I'm the one controlling you. You're the rod of punishment, and I've set you up to be the rod of punishment. So all of this, I'm going to burn the temple down. Esau, I could kill you. Police pull you over. They want to threaten you and do all of this. They can't do a damn thing against you unless the Most High allowed them to do it, man. We don't fear no damn so-called white man. We don't fear you, Esau, man. You know, you want to follow us, and you know, we drive and you pull up, you want to flash your lights and get out and walk all up on us, you know, tapping on the damn window. We don't fear you damn devils, man. We fear the Most High. You damn coming to the so-called job, man, I'll fire you today. Don't you know I can fire you? Hey, this devil can't fire you unless the Most High sanction it. He can't do nothing. Nothing moves without the Most High giving a green light, man. An ant don't move. The rain don't fall. The damn clouds don't move. The sun don't move. Nothing moves without the Most High sanction it, man. Especially this damn, how much more this damn a beast, a base man. That's nothing. Let's go to Psalms chapter 17, right? Let's go to Psalms chapter 17 and verse 13, right? Psalm 17 and 13. Arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. So the wicked are the Edomites. They are the sword of the Most High. They're used to punish, all right? Verse 14, from men which are thy hand, meaning they are the strength of the Most High. He uses the so-called white man when he wants to afflict and punish. From men which are thy hand, O Yahweh, from men of the world, which have their portion in this life, and whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure, meaning the Most High gave them power. They are full of children and leave the rest of their substance to their babes, right? So that's plain, all right? The so-called white man has no power to burn anybody down, to kill anybody, unless the Most High allows it. That's Deuteronomy 28 and 49. The Lord shall send a nation against thee from the ends of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Right? That's the Most High who sent that nation against us. So stop fearing this damn devil, man. Like he could just stomp up and down and trot upon the wicked. The Most High is allowing this for a moment of time until his sins reach unto heaven. And once his sins reach into heaven, the Most High is going to bring the judgment down. So let's go back to First Maccabees 7 and read about Nicanor. So it says, and swore in his wrath, right? First Maccabees 7:35, saying, unless Judas and his host be now delivered into my hands, if I ever come again in safety, I will burn up this house. And with that, he went out in a great rage. Then the priest entered in and stood before the altar and the temple, weeping and saying, thou, O Lord, didst choose this house to be called by thy name, and to be a house of prayer and petition for thy people. Be avenged of this man and his host, and let them fall by the sword. Remember their blasphemies, and suffer them not to continue any longer. Right? So Nicanor went out of Jerusalem and pitched his tents in Betharan, wherein in a host of, or out of Assyria met him. But Judas pitched in Adasa with 3,000 men, and there he prayed, saying, O Lord, when they that were sent from the king of the Assyrians blasphemed, thine angel went out and smote 184,500 of them. So he's quoting Isaiah, right? When you read Isaiah, the 36th chapter, the 37th chapter, you read about Rabshakeh, who was sent by the king of Assyria to vex Israel, right? And the Most High sent one angel. That's all it took. He sent one angel, and one angel killed 185,000 Assyrians, and they were all dead corpses. See, and the beautiful thing about this prayer is that Judas, he knows the works of the Most High. A lot of times when we deal with distress, or your back is against the wall, or you're dealing with adversity, or your affliction, a lot of times, a lot of brothers get carnal and they start looking for carnal solutions, and you start getting emotional, and it leads to doubt and fear and anxiety and depression. But when you remember these accounts like Judas did, it goes a long way, because you know that the Most High can deliver you. He's delivered our fathers before. That's what Judas is saying. Whatever you're going through in life, whether it's physical, emotional, financial, mental, you have to remember these accounts to comfort you. They're to comfort you in affliction, so you can be reminded that Yahweh is always there. And every account is for different reasons, man. Like, you might be financially down bad, right? You got to remember certain precepts, man. Right? Sirach 11:14, 1 Samuel 2:8, Sirach 11:21, Job 22:22 on down, the entire book of Job, what happened to Isaac, I mean, these accounts, when you're emotionally distressed. Look at David. Remember the time when David's wives were taken captive, man, and they thought about killing David. Moses, when they rose up against Moses, right? There's so many accounts of the Most High being there for his elect. All right. And you have to remember these things, man. Right? One of my favorite Psalms. Let's go to Psalms, chapter 77 and verse 10. I mean, this whole thing is good, man. Right? I'm going to start at, right, this is one of my favorite Psalms, Psalms 77:2. In the day of my trouble, I sought the Lord. So I didn't seek the flesh. I didn't seek a psychiatrist. I didn't seek flesh and blood. And the day of my trouble, I sought the Lord. That's what Judas did. That's what David did. My soul ran in the night and ceased not. My soul refused to be comforted. I remembered the Most High and was troubled. I complained and my spirit was overwhelmed. Yeah, you might feel like there's no hope. Nothing's going your way. You're having a bad week or a bad month or a bad day, and it's one thing after another, and it's always something, right? It says, thou holdest mine eyes waking. I am so troubled that I cannot speak. I have considered the days of old, the years of ancient times. And that's what David did to get him out of that slump, to get him out that hole, to get him out that damn pit that he was in. A lot of times, Jake, you overthink yourself into depression. You overthink and worry yourself into emotions and doubt and anxiety and worry and all of these things, man. You're supposed to remember the works of old. Remember the ancient times. Remember these accounts that the Most High has done for our forefathers, man. That's why it's important to read and to meditate. You know, I call to remembrance my song in the night. I commune with mine own heart, and my spirit made diligent search. Right? So that's David meditating and thinking about all of the times, right, of the Most High being there for him when he was dealing with Saul, when he committed adultery, right, when he was dealing with Goliath, when he was hiding from the Philistines, when he was dealing with all of those accounts. He refreshed his memory of all of the times the Lord delivered him, to comfort him, knowing that the Most High would deliver him from the next situation. You know, let me jump down. Verse 9, Psalm 77 and 9. Hath the Most High forgotten to be gracious? And you may feel like that, man. Is there no more mercy? Is the Lord still dealing with me? Am I still a man of the Lord? I'm going through all of this. What did I do? Hath the Most High forgotten to be gracious? Hath he in his anger shut up his tender mercies? Selah. And I said, this is my infirmity, but I will remember the years of the right hand of the Most High. I will, because a lot of people focus on the left hand of the Most High. All of the evil you're going through, everything that's just wrong in your life, everything that's just not going the way that you want it to go, everything that's just bad and just vexing. You know, people, there's a word they use in the world about people that feed off of that stuff. You know, certain people, they just feed off of that. And they like to be down, and then they like to see you down, then they get down, and all of that, man. I can't think of the term right now, but there's a term for that. You know, you can't have them spirits around you, man. You got to remember the years of the right hand of the Most High, not the left hand of the Most High. Stop focusing on what's wrong and focus on what the Most High can do through faith. That's what David said. He said, I'm not going to think about the left hand. I'm going to remember the years of the right hand of the Most High. I will remember the works of Yahweh. Surely I will remember thy wonders of old. And this is what Judas did. Judas remembered the account of old to comfort him and his army as they dealt with Nicanor. And they remembered that account of the angel killing 185,000 Assyrians. That's a beautiful account right there. First Maccabees 7 and 42. So this thing is about faith. It's about faith, because you're under these curses and things aren't going to go your way. You're in captivity. You're being punished. Stop expecting everything to just be a good day for you. Your faith in Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, is the catalyst. It's what's going to drive you out of this captivity. You believing and hoping that the Most High will deliver you is what the Lord is looking for. Right? So verse 42, First Maccabees 7 and 42. Even so, right, here's the rest of his prayer. Even so, destroy thou this host before us this day, that the rest may know that he hath spoken blasphemously against thy sanctuary, and judge thou him according to his wickedness. And it's what scholars call the battle of Adasa, right? The battle of Adasa is the battle that Nicanor was slain with the sword, right? And that was at Misery Loves Company, right? Right. So that's that spirit. You got to get out of that spirit, man. Right? Because Satan going to feed into that. So you got to have that Judas mentality. All right. Because just one more point on that, you can't expect the angel to come down and rub you in the back and say everything's going to be okay, man. You got to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. The Most High wants to see your integrity. Stop expecting the Lord to just come to you in a dream and say everything's okay, my son. You got these scriptures, man. Use these scriptures that the Most High gave you. That's your comfort. That's what you have. That's all you have, man. You don't have nothing else. Tell you in Psalms 73, whom have I in heaven but thee? There is none upon the earth I desire besides thee. My flesh and my heart faileth, but the Most High is my strength and my portion forever. Paraphrasing. So all you have is the Most High. That's all our forefathers ever have. They don't have the sword. Some trust in shields, some trust in chariots and swords, but we will remember the name of the Lord. We don't have nothing but the Most High. You know? So let's read on. First Maccabees 7:43. So the 13th day of the month of Adar, which is Wednesday night at sundown, the host joined battle, but Nicanor's host was discomfited, and he himself was first slain in the battle. You see that? All that talk. He was the first one dead. Most High killed him quick, man. First one slain in the battle, right? So when Nicanor's host saw that he was slain, they cast away their weapons and fled. What happened to all of that talk? I'm going to burn the temple up. You know, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And when I come back, I'm going to do this. The Lord had other plans, man. The Lord heard that. And the first thing our forefathers did is they prayed. The priests, they prayed. Judas, they prayed. You're always supposed to pray to Yahweh Bashmel Shai. You're supposed to call upon him in your adversity. Anything that you're going through, you call upon Yahweh. Right? Bashmel Shai, man. Right? Let's go to Psalms chapter 121. So Nicanor is not just about the death of a so-called white man, but it's about the faith of our forefathers in adversity. Right? Psalms chapter 121 and 1. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. See that? So that's where our help comes from, man. Our help comes from the Most High. You have to believe that. This truth is about belief. It's about faith. It's about trust. That's what it's about. It's about hope, expectation. You know? So my help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Right? See, the Most High don't sleep. He's very well aware of what you're going through this week or today or tomorrow. He is very well aware, man. He's the one that's orchestrating it. He's not asleep. He's not far off. The Most High is not preoccupied with the angels in the heavens where he doesn't behold the adversity that you're going through. He's very well aware. The question is, are you very well aware of the Most High? Are you having faith in the Most High? See, the Most High will leave man alone with troubles to see what man is going to do in those troubles. He'll leave you alone, man. And have you, some people swallow themselves up in troubles and doubt. And they get demons on them and they fall out and they die. And other men, they're resilient, right? What is the definition of resilience? Right? Resilience. The capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties. Toughness. Right? That's a mighty spirit to have to be resilient. When the Most High, you might get judged, or the Most High put you in adversity and you're dealing with hell, but you don't let it soak in on you. You don't dwell on that. You recover quickly. You bounce back and you remember that precept and you pray to Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua and you trust in the Most High. That's being resilient. You can recover quickly in adversity. Stuff could be taken from you like that and you could be at your wit's end. But you don't let it phase you. You're mentally tough because you trust in the Most High. And resilience comes with faith. You're only as resilient as the level of faith that you have in this truth. Some people lack resilience because they lack faith. And they can't recover because they don't believe that the Most High is going to allow them to recover. So you want to pray for the spirit of resilience too in this thing. And that's a mighty spirit that the priests had, that Judas had, and the men that was with him had. They had a spirit of resilience, right? And that's how they were able to overcome Nicanor, man. Through resilience and through faith. So let's see what else happened. First Maccabees 7:45. Then they pursued after them a day's journey from Adasa unto Gesera, sounding an alarm after them with their trumpets. Whereupon they came forth out of all the towers of Judea. So they chasing Esau, putting them to flight, round about and closed them in. And that they turning back upon them that pursued them were all slain with the sword, and not one of them was left. And that's how it's going to be. It's not going to be one Edomite left in process of time. Right here, here's another part. Afterwards, they took the spoils and the prey and smote off Nicanor's head. So they chopped off the so-called white man's head, man. The same way David chopped off Goliath's head. The same way Judith chopped off Holofernes' head. Now, you can say, well, that's overkill. The so-called white man, he may call that a war crime. You shouldn't be chopping off people's heads. That's a war crime. That's a global offense, a crime against humanity. You know, bring this guy to the United Nations. And the hell with that, man. The Most High was with that. He said, chop off this so-called white man's head, man. They smote it off. Not only his head, it says, and his right hand, which he stretched out so proudly, and brought them away and hanged them up toward Jerusalem. So they chopped off his head and his hand. See, Esau wants you to accept his philosophies and doctrines in your right hand and in your head, man. Right? So his head being chopped off was where his mind was against Yahweh Bashmel Shah, and all of his wicked thoughts and plots he had against the temple and against the people of God. And his right hand was his wicked works that he stretched out against Yahweh Shah and his people. And it's double. That's why he wants you and your right hand and in your head to be inside of this system and inside of these philosophies, man. Right? But if our right hand offends us, we cut it off, man. Right? If our eye offends us, we pluck it out. And we're going to enter into the kingdom halted and maimed rather than follow the beast, man. So they chopped off this man's head and his hand, and he hanged him up. And the Most High was with that. Verse 48. For this cause the people rejoiced greatly, and they kept that day a day of great gladness. So the destruction of Nicanor is a day of great gladness. So Wednesday night at sundown until Thursday night at sundown is a day of great gladness. Right? It is a day of mirth, a day of celebration, a day of laughter, a day of joy. It's not a day to worry about bills and rent and stress and pain and sorrow and corruption. It is a day to remember the right hand of the Most High, right? It is a day to eat and drink and be merry with your brethren. Moreover, they ordained to keep yearly this day, being the 13th of Adar. Thus the land of Judah was in rest a little while. And that is the destruction of Nicanor. That day was made a high day by Yahweh Bashmel Shah, right? It was made a high day by Yahweh Bashma Mashiach Malak Shah. So with that, we're going to close up, giving, of course, our honor and our glory to Yahweh Bashma Mashiach Malak Shah. We're going to withhold the questions. We'll do another Q&A throughout the week. Most High willing, you were edified. Again, the destruction of Nicanor is Wednesday night at sundown till Thursday night at sundown. And Purim is Thursday night at sundown till Friday night at sundown. And day 2 of Purim is Friday night at sundown until Saturday night at sundown. That, Kwam Yashalom. Shalom.